Call of Duty is a first-person shooter franchise that has spanned more than 10 years, and with a new installment every year, the franchise is loved and hated by millions of people around the world. Now, over the years, each installment into the franchise has kept many things the same, but also changed a lot of things. What's going on, guys? Cheerio here, and in today's video, we're going to be making a list of 10 things that need to become standard in all Call of Duty games. Now, before we get started, this list is going to be in a random order, so number 1 doesn't carry any more weight than number 10, and I'm not going to be using any foolish answers such as, oh, good gameplay as any of them. This is actually a constructive video and has compiled a list of things that I've seen people in the community want and things that I personally think would benefit either the game or just players in general. So let's get started. Number 1 is a rank up meter. Now, this is something we haven't seen recently in Call of Duty except for the Modern Warfare Remastered, and I believe the last installment to actually feature this was Modern Warfare 2. As seen by the gameplay, it's just a little bar at the bottom of your screen that spans from one end to the other and would show your progress up until the next rank. I enjoyed having this in the game as, if I got a challenge, it let me know pretty much how far along I got in my rank, and I just like knowing how close I was anyway. Say I was close to prestiging, I wanted to know when I actually hit that maximum threshold of XP, so I could actually prestige and leave the game if I did so want to. I think an easy way to implement this into the game and have people who don't want it and do want it happy is just have a little setting in the menu that you can either enable it or disable it, and maybe even have an opacity meter so that way it maybe is not as obstructive. In game, it really isn't that obstructive anyways, but I could see why some people don't like it, but people such as myself who want to know how far they progress definitely enjoy this feature, and it's something that I believe should come back. Number 2 is a ping meter. Now, this is something you don't necessarily need a visual aid for, so you're just seeing some gameplay in the background. But a ping meter is essential in any online game you play. You're going to want to know what your connection is stacked up against other people. So regardless if you're playing Call of Duty, Overwatch, Battlefield, whatever game you're playing, you want to know what your connection is. And whether or not they have just the 4-bar system like are in some games, or the just number of your ping, you're going to want to see what your connection is. You want to know if your NAT type is strict, moderate, or open being the best obviously, and if you cannot see that in game like as you are playing, then that really is no benefit to you. Yes, whenever you're in a lobby you can see what your NAT type is, but while you're actually playing, you're going to want to see what your connection is stacked up against other people. If you're one barring, you want to know if it's just a you problem and it's your connection, or maybe the host is lagging and everyone else is, or there's something wrong with the servers, and that's why a ping meter is essential. Number 3 is a player count. Now, this is something that the Call of Duty franchises steer clear of in favor of a percentage of players online, probably because of a low player count in general. But having an actual tangible number of people online that you can actually visually see is something very beneficial. The last Call of Duty installment to actually have this feature is Call of Duty Ghost. Say what you will about the game, they did a lot of things right, and having an actual player count is something I love seeing in Call of Duty installments, because it actually lets you see who's playing what game mode exactly. It doesn't tell you what percent of people are playing this game mode. No, it tells you the actual numbers, something very beneficial to see. There's not too many people playing on the Xbox One at the moment, maybe 2,500 people as you saw. So seeing that there's maybe 4 people playing this game mode lets me know I'm not going to find a game. You'll sit in a lobby forever because the game will not start with 4 people only. And if it was the percentage system, it might say that that is 6% of players online. That's not the exact number, obviously, just a hypothetical. But if it were to say 6% of people, but 6% of people is only about 4 people, you're not going to really know that because you don't see the actual player count. So while it's not something that has to do with gameplay, the actual player count is something that is a necessity in Call of Duty in order for you to find a game and actually judge what you can play. Number 4 is Pro Perks. Pro Perks isn't really something we've seen around recently in the Call of Duty franchise. Modern Warfare 2 was the first installment to actually bring this into the series, and it's a shame that it has not returned. Pro Perks didn't really break the game in any sort of way. I can understand why people may dislike them, but really the benefits you got from receiving a Perk Pro were not that extreme. For instance, in Modern Warfare 2, if you got Stopping Power Pro, you went from having your increased bullet damage to enemies to also having increased damage against enemy kill streaks. Now, this was not overpowered in any way. Yes, you did more damage, but 2 shots of an intervention would not destroy a Harrier strike with or without the perk. If you had, let's say, Marathon Pro, you went from running for longer distances to being able to climb objects and mantle faster. Having a pro perk system was very beneficial in the fact that it gave you something to work for, and the benefits themselves were helpful but not game-breaking. And that's the real balance you have to strike with these types of things, is actually give you something that's worth it if you get the perk pro. Each perk had their own pro variants, and the benefit, like I said, was good, but nothing too extreme. And really, it wasn't always all that noticeable if someone had it in-game. You didn't really need the perk pro, but it was definitely an added bonus if you had it pro. Number 5 is customization. Now, customization is something we see in basically every Call of Duty installment now, but it was definitely implemented better in the past. Recently, customization has basically been limited to supply drops. Yes, you can unlock certain things via challenges, but then the rest is up to an RNG system. The system that Ghost had, I found, was actually perfect. I loved the way Ghost did customization. It actually made sense in terms of the setting of the game, and you didn't have too many crazy options. There were some, but not many. And you can unlock a lot of these items via in-game challenges by grinding for certain things. There was also the ones you can purchase with real money, such as certain characters like Captain Price and Astronaut, even the dog variant that was a wolf, or other certain uniforms. You could purchase that with real money, or you could unlock certain ones with challenges. Black Ops 2 had a similar thing with camos where you could buy certain select DLC camos. These camos ranged into different things from either cool looking to just funny in general, comical, and stuff like that. But it was able to be purchased with real money, but then there was also the camos that you could unlock in-game. Recently, with the addition of supply drops, basically everything is left up to chance or anything that looks decent, and no one's really a fan of it anymore because you cannot unlock it via grinding. And that's why customization lands number 5 on the list, is because of the fact that we could implement it in a way standard where you can unlock it via grinding, and it's not all left up to supply drops because no one really likes supply drops in the series. Number 6 is the firing range. The firing range is something we have seen in different Call of Duty installments, but has not become standard as of yet. And the firing range is great for a few reasons, actually. It's very easy to access, very simple. You either go to the Create a Class menu, and you can just click the Start or Menu button, and you'll be teleported into the firing range. It also lets you test out guns, attachments, camos, and other things in-game before you actually go out and play multiplayer. And that's why I love the firing range so much. And with Modern Warfare Remastered and the Weapon Inspect, it lets you actually see everything on the gun before using it in the game. You can see what your camo looks like, what your attachments do. You can kind of figure out your recoil patterns, what attachments you think will be best for that weapon before actually trying it out in-game through trial and error. And that's why the firing range is so great. It's very simple, and it has a very simple purpose, and that's just to let you test out things before actually going to use them. And that's why I like the firing range so much. Number 7 is the Faceoff playlist. The Faceoff playlist was only available in one installment, that being Modern Warfare 3. The Faceoff playlist maybe didn't have as large of a community as some other modes in the game, but there was definitely a large amount of people playing these. The Faceoff playlist was very simple. There were game modes of 1v1, 2v2, and 3v3. No matter which one you clicked on, it would have a mix of variety of game modes in them, ranging from Team Deathmatch to Search and Destroy. The maps in these playlists were very small. They were catered specifically to these small teams, and that's what I really liked about it. If you were playing by yourself, you could go play 1v1, which is basically cage match for Modern Warfare. I mean, yes, 1v1 was pretty much a booster's, dreamland. But the 2v2 and 3v3 were very fun. If you were playing with a small group of people, you and one friend or you and 2 other friends, it was very cool to play these different game modes on small maps catered towards these small teams. I really liked the Face-Off playlist. I really wish it would make a comeback because honestly, it was my favorite thing to do in Modern Warfare 3 besides Infected. And for that reason, Face-Off playlist should definitely make a return. Number 8 is going to be post-launch support and having the developers active in the community. Now, initially, I had these as 2 separate little categories, but I figured I could combine them into one and actually make it a little easier for myself. Post-launch support is something we see a lot with games, same with developers being active in the community, but we could definitely use some more in the Call of Duty franchise. David Vonderhaar at Black Ops 3 definitely did an outstanding job with being active in the community and providing us with information on new patches and fixes and letting us know that he is aware of problems. With Modern Warfare Remastered, we have Raven Studios. They're the ones that actually created the remaster, and the lead designer or the head of Raven has a Twitter account but isn't extremely active in it. He'll tweet out, here's the patch notes. Oh, this is being removed from, Winter Crash is being removed from the playlist. Here's, what's going on, double XP, whatever. He might tweet out that once in a while, but isn't extremely active, or not that we can see. He might be active in listening to the community, but we don't know that he is. We actually need to see that support from the developers and letting them see and post on Twitter, Reddit, or anywhere else that they know what these problems are and that they're working to fix them. So far, they've said absolutely nothing about maybe broken spawns in the game. I saw one tweet actually just the other day, which is the first we've actually heard of it, and maybe the broken kill cams or whatever. There's a lot of things that happen in the game that we need to know that the developers are actively listening in, and that's something we really need to see. Same thing with post-launch support. There isn't a game nowadays that does not release with the day one patch, and honestly, we see a lot of it in the Call of Duty franchise, but there could always be more post-launch support. There's always something to fix, and I'm not talking about post-launch support just in terms of your brand new game. I mean for games that are in the past. If you go to the original COD 4 Modern Warfare or World at War MW2, those games can be riddled with hackers, whether you're playing on console or PC, and I feel like the fact that the developers aren't paying attention to these games is just because they're old and they really just want you to play their new game. But having support for your old titles shows that you care about the products that you've actually made. And we need to see a lot more of that post-launch support because there's still huge communities in these old Call of Duty games, and I would love to be able to go and play them without having to worry about hackers. And for that reason, we definitely need to see more post-launch support after the game's lifecycle is over. Number 9 is going to be the community playlists. Now, the game that had the most to offer for the community in terms of playlists is Modern Warfare 3. We've definitely seen a lot of these game modes return, but not to the extent that MW3 actually had them. MW3 had Drop Zone, All or Nothing, Infected, Gun Game. All these game modes were really amazing to play during Modern Warfare 3, and basically the only ones you see come back are Infected and Gun Game. I can understand why they might not be in future installments to the fact that maybe there's just too many game modes to choose from now, and population will be too diverse to the point where you may not even find a game. I can understand that, but I think when the game initially launches, it should definitely have a lot of these game modes. Modern Warfare 3 had a ton to offer in terms of the game modes you can play, and with the actual player count, you could tell what game modes were being played a lot. All or Nothing was a ton of fun. You didn't have any ammo, you had to kill in order to get up scavenger packs. Infected, something that comes back a lot of times, but sometimes is neglected, like in Black Ops 3 it wasn't there, but then again, it is more so an Infinity Ward type thing. Gun Game has come back in basically every single Call of Duty installment, but not always to the same extent. I like to see Gun Game as a random thing, not an actual, cycle that you go through. You go through a pistol, then a shotgun, then an SMG. No, I'd much rather see it. You go from maybe a sniper to a rocket launcher, and attachments are maybe varianted between each of the game modes. I would definitely like to see more variety in Gun Game, and I would like to see more variety in these community playlists in general. A lot of people like playing these because they're fun little party games to have, but they've kind of, been neglected in future installments in favor of just adding more standard modes and maybe having Infected and Gun Game, but having the other options to play is something to do if you just want to kill time and not act all serious all the time. And for that, community playlists should definitely be a higher thing in the Call of Duty franchise. Last but not least is going to be Call of Duty Elite. Call of Duty Elite is basically the season pass system that we see in literally any game that releases nowadays. But it was a lot different in Modern Warfare 3, which was the first and only installment that COD Elite actually came with, as far to my knowledge. COD Elite was, like I said, your season pass system. You would pay for this system, and that's where you would get your map packs from. You would link up your COD Elite account to your, let's say, Xbox or PSN account, and that's where you would get your map packs from. They would have a lot of little patch notes on there. You could read a lot of things in the community on COD Elite, but they also had free drops as well. It wasn't just your season pass thing. I believe Terminal came for free with COD Elite. Like, eventually they just kept releasing free maps. Like, it wasn't just your typical 4 map packs. No, you got maps just randomly out of the blue for free with this. Your Faceoff playlists were part of a free map little pack. The free Faceoff playlist pack. That was cool. That was with COD Elite. They also had the clan system. This is the first time we actually had like the clan system with Clan Wars, where you could make a clan, recruit people, you were a leader, you could promote people and whatnot, and you could do clan wars, take certain objectives in certain game modes, which would grant your clan more experience in ranking up. You can get a custom clan tag, different emblems, different titles, and it was all really cool to see. It was its own separate app, but it was still tied to Call of Duty. like I said, maybe it didn't have as big as a community and following and love for it as I did, but I genuinely enjoyed COD Elite, and I'm hoping some people definitely feel the same way I do. COD Elite was great to the franchise because it didn't just give you your map packs. It's where you had your hub for all other COD games. You could see your other statistics and whatnot. You got your maps, your notes. You had a whole community there and your clan and everything. Everything was basically built into COD Elite, then around your yearly COD cycle release. And that's why I really liked COD Elite. So that's my list. That's 10 things that I think should become standard in Call of Duty. Do you agree with the list? Do you not agree with it? Let me know in the comments down below. I would definitely like to see some feedback as to how many people actually kind of agree with this list. I've looked around in the community a lot. A lot of people do agree with some of these things, but I did throw in a few of my own personal opinions. So again, I would like to thank you guys for sticking around and actually watching this video on things that need to become standard in Call of Duty. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheerio, mates!